Welcome to another episode of the For the Love of Cricket podcast with Jim and Akim. Today we'll be discussing the highly touted matchup between Australia and England that has been mostly, let's say, played on academic interests due to England's decision to not show up in this World Cup. England wanted to send Australia in to have a crack, gave them 286 runs, struggled to get there. They only made 253. And only made 253 runs. What's your take on today's game?
I think it was a closer game than I really expected. But when you look at the Australian team, they were missing two key players. Glenn Maxwell was out with a concussion, and then Mitchell Marsh had gone home because he had lost a member of his family. He'll be returning to the tournament. I think the Aussies didn't get off to the best start. They lost 2 wickets inside the power play to the informed batters in Travis Head and David Warner. But Steve Smith and Labuschagne put a fairly good partnership together. They put together a partnership of around 70. Steve Smith hasn't had the greatest tournament, I would say, at number 3. He's been between 3 and 4. But it was important that they brought a bit of stability back to the innings. I think Labuschagne batted very well for his knock. Steve Smith will probably be disappointed in how he got out at short third man. And then in came Inglis, who played a strange shot, seeing that Steve Smith had got out in that position the over before. Probably didn't give himself enough time. But Stoinis played a good hand. Cam Green played a very good knock as well. He'll be disappointed in how he got out. He's almost 7 feet tall and he got down and on his knees and tried to scoop a ball and missed. I think he would have probably been better suited using his levers and hitting that ball over long on or mid wicket. And then not much else after. Stoinis got 35 and then a cameo from Zampa was probably the difference in this game. He got 29 off 19 balls and that got them to 286.
Watching this game, I thought England in their bowling innings they were in the game all the way up until Adam Zampa came to the crease. After Labuschagne and Smith got out, Inglis got out, Stoinis and Green were at the crease, but they were struggling. Mark Wood's pace was troubling them. There were a number of balls hit off mistimed pulls and bunts down the ground that just barely go over fielders. Heads are dropped in no man's land. Ball pull and go straight up and drop on the pitch. Nobody could get there. But Cam Green got to 47. And then I could see the logic in the shot he played. The ball was full and was on leg stump, pitched outside leg stump and hit leg stump from Willie, left arm, seamer over the wicket. They didn't have a fine leg. There was no fine leg. There was a deep backward square. But he was pretty backward. But the logic was to just scoop it. But I don't understand why he went across so far. He went outside our stump to try and get that shot. I thought he could have just held his ground and just paddle it. Because there was nobody around there. So even if there was a mistime, there wasn't a chance of getting out. They just needed to get some bat on it. Get it past the key, he would have been okay.
It was probably anticipation with the line that he thought Willie would have bowled.
But Willie was bowling on the stump.
But still, I still think he went across way too far.
You didn't have to think he went across too far. The fact that he got bowled tell you that he went across too far. I thought he gave away 100 at that point. Then Stoinis got out as well. Yeah, Stoinis got out immediately after him, and I was like, yeah, if England can get them to under 250, they have a chance here. And then the runs started leaking with Pat Cummins and Adam Zampa. at the crease. And I was like, yeah. When I saw it get to 260, I was like, I don't think they can get this. Then you see it go up to 280, 286. Even though they were bowled out, I wasn't confident that England could get this score, seeing that they faltered to pass 150 on so many occasions. How do you think England bowled?
I think England bowled fairly well. This was probably one of the best bowling performances in the tournament. They struck with the new ball. They got wickets early. I think Mark would bowl with some pace. He was expensive, but he really pushed the batters back. Chris Wokes had his best game in the tournament with the ball. Picked up 4 wickets. He used his skill and his experience, I feel. And Adil Rashid was very good as well. I think Inglis gifted him a wicket, but he created pressure and he bowled tight overs in the middle, which is what they've been missing all tournament.
We saw Chris Wokes when he came back. He bowled a lot of off-pace deliveries and got 2 of the wickets with slow balls, 2 half-cutter slow balls. Do you think Mark would tries enough of those kinds of deliveries? He's bowling at 95, 96 miles an hour. And even though I saw him trouble Cam Green, the moment he came off the stump, it was 4 through cover or 4 through point. He scored five boundaries off Mark Wood. Even though he hit him, he had him flinching, had him pull a couple times and the ball got up, but they were so badly timed they couldn't even carry to the fielders.
Yeah, it's a skill that he really needs to develop. He's somebody that can bowl at almost 100 miles per hour. I'm sure a couple weeks practicing 1 or 2 slower balls, he could add them to his repertoire and he would be even more dangerous in limited overs cricket. It's almost as if he becomes a one-trick pony with the pace. Good players will find a way to survive. He'll hustle them, he'll hit them, he'll create problems, but they'll find a way to get through it, especially in limited overs cricket where he can only bowl 10 overs. So he needs to add a bit more finesse to the locker, I feel.
I say him and Harris Raff having the same issue. I think Harris Raff is a more skillful bowler, but
yes,
his ball doesn't have enough dip on it. It's just running his fingers down the side of the ball. So it's like coming at 85 miles an hour. And at that level, 85 miles an hour, without energy behind the ball, is like batting throwdowns. They're going to hit that out the park every day.
Yeah. And Harris Raff also gets reverse swing too. More reverse swing than what Mark Wood can get or has gotten.
But it hasn't been reverse swinging now, so they're both going at 8.
Yeah.
We see Kotse though from South Africa, he's taller, so he gets more bounce, and bounce is his advantage. He's high pace as well, but the bounce is what gets him his wickets. Similar to what Liam Plunkett would have done. England then batted and what? They got to 250. It's pretty good. They started shakily, Bairstow getting out of the first ball. And then, what's your take on it? Let me just ask.
I think they batted fairly well at the start. Johnny Bairstow has had a bad tournament. He has scored 1 half century in the tournament and he's only passed 30 on 3 occasions. And I think this is England's 7th or 8th game. He's one of the reasons that they have struggled in this tournament because they haven't gotten good platforms up at the top. Malan batted well to a 50. Joe Root, the guy who holds their innings together, he got out for 13. It was a good decision to review it because a number of the players were unsure on the field. I think Stokes played a decent hand, but 64 off 90 deliveries by his standards, a bit on the slower side. He struggled through the innings a bit, and then he got out in a very soft manner to Adam Zampa. He got a ball outside leg stump or just on leg stump and then helped it to short fine leg. He would have been disappointed in that mode of dismissal. Josh Butler, the captain, another captain that has struggled in this World Cup with the bat. He he is still in England. I don't feel like he's turned up here at all. He has been non-existent in the tournament. Moeen Ali played a decent hand before he got out. He got caught by Warren of Zampa. Zampa bowled a very good spell, I think. He picked up key wickets.
Excellent spell. He went at 2 and over.
Yeah, he bowled very well. I feel as if he probably got away though, because if you look at the scorecard and you look at somebody with the ability of Ben Stokes and you think that Zampa bowled 10 overs for 21, Ben Stokes and Moeen Ali faced a number of those deliveries, you'd almost think that Zampa got away with murder.
Maybe Zampa. To me, every game he plays, he's better.
Mm.
He's spinning the ball both ways from a similar spot on the wicket. So I don't think they can line him up. I think with the mindset of the English players at the moment, they probably think they were going too hard. So Ben Stokes is scoring in this game. He made what, 64 off 90,
Yeah.
71. That was his strike rate. So he ate up a number of balls. England only got to 250. But they batted more than 48 overs. So they were by their standards, they were crawling.
Yeah, they were crawling.
Moeen Ali just under a runner ball was pretty quick, and then Adil Rashid scored quickly at the end. Continue what you were saying.
Chris Wokes and the lower order tried to save the game. At one point, it looked as if they were well out of it with the required rate being at about 10 and over, 9, 10 and over. But he played a good cameo along with Adil Rashid, and they got closer than I expected them to get in the end. Chris Wokes is also somebody who has underperformed with the bat in this tournament. I saw a stat that said in the last World Cup he averaged almost 70, playing very good knocks for them at like number 7, number 8, coming not out as well. And then in this tournament, he hasn't really delivered with the bats. The conditions are completely different though, I must say. It's not like playing in England. So that is also another fact that they can look at. But generally, I just think that it has been an underperforming unit, especially in the lower middle order and then at the top as well, because Malan got a half century again today, but Johnny Bairstow, for what we know he's capable of doing, he has been underwhelming. And then Josh Butler, underwhelming as well. Wokes at 7 or 8, underwhelming. And even Moeen Ali has not taken a wicket in this tournament thus far. And he hasn't been of much help to them with the bat either in the games that he's played. So it's hard. It's very rare that you find a team with 10 or 11 people all out of form and underperforming at the same time. But that is what we're seeing with this team.
Back to that Chris Wokes point with the batting. I don't really think there's anything that has changed with his batting. You and I generally are lower order batters. And we know it is easier to go and bat when the score is 200 for 6, 250 for 6, as opposed to 100 for 6.
Yeah.
It is highly unlikely that you will make a difference in those games that it's 100 for 6. But you get it at 250 for 6. The bowlers are jaded, they're down on confidence. Probably the ball is softer, it's not nipping around again. It's an easier batting effort for you. And if you just apply yourself, so many times you will get in and get a good score. Chris Wokes got in when the score was about 186 today, so it was a lot easier than the games before. But the games before they were getting out for 130 all out. The 50 runs difference, that's like probably 10 overs difference.
Yeah.
Five overs with each ball. Each ball is probably about 5 overs older than before. So it's easier for him to get in and show his skill. There's a reason why he's batting at number 9. He batted at 9. He's not supposed to be out there in the 20th over. How do you think the Australians bowl? We mentioned Zampa was superb. How did the rest of the bowlers fare?
I think Zampa was good. Pat Cummins has also been playing this role as the first chain seamer fairly well. Josh Hazelwood was decent. Mitchell Stark was a bit on the expensive side, I feel. Um, Again, a number of boundaries were scored, and that all the boundaries in this tournament seem to be scored square off the wicket, if we're being completely honest. Once the bowlers come off the stump, they're scored, especially square the wicket through the offside. Uh Zampa was impressive. Zampa is the man that I feel really turned the game. He turned the game with his 3 wickets, and he also turned the game with his economy and building, and then with the batter as well. Easily the man of the match. But to go at 2 and over in a game where the opposition needs to score at almost 6, your 10 overs will win your team the game. Unless somebody comes and bowls awfully on your team, you're going to win the game for your team. And he picked up 3 important wickets. He got 2 left-handers who have the potential to be very destructive. So I think his overs were very good and they were key for Australia. And he also got Joss Butler, who came down the wicket and hit down to long off. So he has had a wretched tournament. He probably tried to free the shackles here, and unfortunately for him, he's still in bondage.
So Australia's final game will be against Afghanistan. No, their next game is against Afghanistan, and they have Bangladesh after that. How do you see them faring against Afghanistan, a side that has been surging towards the upper section of the middle of the table? You think they can pull something off?
I think Australia should win that game, but it was good to see them play today without David Warner and Travis Head firing at the top. It gave people like Steve Smith and Labuschagne the opportunity to perform and play a greater role. And it also gave Cam Green, who came into the team, the opportunity to get a decent score. I think how they do in that game will rely heavily on how the power play goes, because Mujib will likely open the bowling and you'll be bowling to 2 left-handers. So if he doesn't go well, we could find a situation where Australia are at 60, 70 without loss or for one outside the power play. And once they get to that stage, I think they have the batters that are capable enough to get them to a score of around 280 or 300. I also think they have enough expertise to bowl to the Afghanis. This is if they bat first. But Afghanistan has been one of the better chasing teams in the tournament. So Australia will have to bat well. And I think the 2 openers are a big, big part of that, because they're missing Mitch Marsh, who has been very good for them in the tournament, especially when he's opened, not so prolific at 3. And they're also missing Maxwell with his power at 6 or 7 towards the end of the innings. So how they go in the power play, I think, will decide the game for them.
Do you think England should play the next game? Or they should just...
No, I think they should head to the airport now.
So it's like a great idea. Don't waste the rest of the schedulers and the event planners money. You know? Just save them some of the hotel costs and just head home early.
You would argue that some of the players want to play against them for their stats, especially the bowlers. The bowlers can have a feast against them.
Pick up some free wickets, you know, boost the average. You have anything else to add?
Nah, that's all from me.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys.